looked at your hand, really looked at it, have you seen all the cracks, crevices, lines, whorls, arches, loops, and more? Your handprint is a fascinating thing, and it is all your own. Everyone has a different handprint. My essential question was, how can math help me understand how crime fighters identify fingerprints and footprints better? My findings to my essential question are that there are many types of ways that crime fighters identify fingerprints and footprints using math. They can use measurement to measure handprints, fingerprints, shoe prints, footprints, and more to help track crime. Before I started this project, I did not know anything about this topic. I chose it because I would always look at my fingerprints and my footprints in the mud and wonder. My first question is, how do crime fighters use math to find clues about fingerprints and footprints? I found that when crime fighters look at a print of a fingerprint, they look for the type of fingerprint. There are 3 types of fingerprint: the whorl, the loop, and the arch. Crime fighters also look for the different parts of the fingerprint. There is different parts, like the crossover, the core, the bifurcation, the ridge ending, the island, the delta, and the part. And everybody might have some of these things, but they might not be in the exact same spaces. They might not look exactly the same. If a crime fighter is dealing with a footprint, they can use charts of different types of footprints or parts of a footprint. Like, if they see footprints and they're far apart and there's a little bit dirt at the top, it most likely they were running. If there's drag marks, they're they're carrying a load. If the feet are maybe bigger and the pace is farther apart and it's turned out a little bit, then it's most likely a man. If it's smaller and the space in between a footprint is closer together, and it's a woman, and women also tend to walk pigeon-toed or turned in. And if there is drag marks too, then they might be walking backwards. My second question is, who are some people who work with fingerprints and footprints? I found that there is someone called a forensic scientist. A forensic scientist is a scientist that studies fingerprints. They also study other things in crime scene investigations. And I think a forensic scientist sounds like an interesting job. My third question is, how do crime fighters use technology to identify fingerprints and footprints? There is something called a fingerprint scanner. For a fingerprint scanner, the suspect places each finger one at a time, or as you can see in this picture, they could also do it all linked at the same time on a glass plate. A special camera makes a digital picture of the fingerprint or the fingerprints, and these machines can also compare two fingerprints. So if there is a fingerprint and you want to compare it to another fingerprint, you can compare them with the machine. For my action, I looked at a few fingerprints for my family and friends and made a bar graph. As you can see, what is strange is that whorl is usually seen the most, but in the people I looked at, it was seen the least. This affects the people who look at my trifold to see how many times each type is seen in daily life. After all my research, I have come to the conclusion that fingerprints and footprints are a very big help to crime fighters today. There are many ways to identify fingerprints and footprints, like size, depth, pattern, and more. Crime fighters use them every day. Math can definitely help me understand how crime fighters identify fingerprints.